pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, welcome. This is the Planning Commission. Meeting of the Morrison County Planning Commission. The commission is made up of citizens from the 5 commissioner districts of the county. The purpose of this commission is to oversee the preparation of the Morrison County land use controls, hear and review applications, and offer recommendations for conditional use permits, interim use permits, subdivision plat approval, plan unit developments, rezones, and other matters to be considered by it under the Morrison County Land Use Control Ordinance. Our powers are established in state statutes, chapters 394.21 through 394.37. Conditional uses and interim uses are recommended for approval upon a showing by an applicant that standards and criteria stated in the ordinance will be satisfied. All questions must be answered in the affirmative in order for the Planning Commission to recommend approval for a conditional use permit or an interim use permit unless conditions can be attached that bring the proposed use into compliance and mitigate the negative finding of fact. Conditions and restrictions may be imposed by the Planning Commission as deemed necessary to protect the public interest. After your public hearing is completed, you may leave if you wish. So in the Planning Commission, we have one item tonight. We have Samuel and Mindy Jennings Living Trust. If they'd want to come up forward and sit up at the tables here. 17541 370th Avenue, Hillman. Application for interim use permit for a limited rural business for event venue located in point of east half of southeast quarter, section 20, township 41, range 28 of Lay Township. If you guys would pull the mics forward and just state your name for the record, please.
Samuel Jennings.
Mindy Jennings.
Okay. So at this time, I think we'll turn it over to Amy with her staff report.
All right, Mr. Chair. Again, this is an application for an interim use permit for a limited rural business in Section 20 of Lay Township. The ordinance references for this request are Section 604.8, that requires an interim use permit for limited rural businesses, and Section 1211.4, which contain the performance standards for limited rural businesses. Here is a plat map of Lay Township, and the red dot is the location of the parcel. And then here's the interim use permit request received from the applicant, along with a site drawing also provided by the applicant. Here's an aerial photograph of the parcel, and then some oblique imagery of the property as well. The applicants own and reside on this 64.3 acre parcel, and they purchased the property in 2021. The applicant is proposing to establish a limited rural business, specifically an event venue. The limited rural business would consist of offering the grounds for day use for events such as weddings, family reunions, and retreats, the months of May through October. Event tents would be utilized until a permanent structure is built. No overnight accommodations or camping space is proposed, and events would be allowed to go until 11 o'clock p.m. Porta potties and portable hand washing stations would be provided on site. When a permanent structure is built, there must be adequate septic system capacity, and the building must meet commercial building code. Renters of the property would be responsible to hire licensed caterers and alcoholic beverage services. The parcel is served by 370th Avenue, which is County State Aid Highway 8, and that's a paved County State Aid Highway on the east, and by 173rd Street, which is also known as County Road 248, which is also a paved county road on the south. The existing entrance off of 173rd Street would be utilized to access the off-street parking area. Guests would utilize the enhanced land bridge over the stream to access the event area. And then here is another aerial photograph that also was in your packet. denoting where that entrance is, where the parking would be, and where the event area would be. There is wetland on the property, and the Morrison County Soil and Water Conservation District was on site to verify that no wetland impact would occur with the proposed parking and event area, and to consult on the enhancement of the land bridge. Uses on adjacent parcels are primarily rural or vacant, wetland, rural residences, and crop fields. And the Sioux Line Trail is about a half-mile southeast of this property. So here's a zoomed out view of the area. You can see the Sioux Line Trail running on the southeast side. Here are the performance standards for limited rural businesses. I won't go through them, but they're here in case you need to refer to them. And then the applicable comprehensive plan goals and objectives in agriculture is goal A1, objective 6, goal A2, objective 1, local economic goal C1, objective 1, objective 8, and goal C2, objectives 1, 2, 7, and 19. 26 comments or notices were sent. I did receive one comment from the county engineer, which I did, which was provided to you and also provided to the applicant. If you'd like for me to read that, I certainly can. Otherwise, the only thing I'll note is there was a typo when he's referring to County Road 249. He actually meant County Road 248. So, Mr. Chair, would you like me to read that, or do you?
It's not that long, if you would, just for the public.
Absolutely. Before approval of their application, an access review should take place to ensure that there is substantial structure and width to the access off County Road 248. Its current intended use was not for the volume of traffic proposed and may require additional Class 5 to build both strength and width, ensuring damage to County Road 248 is not created from event traffic. In-slopes of the access should also be reviewed, ensuring safe ingress and egress for event traffic in the situation they depart the access surfacing. Tracking of material onto County Road 248 should be monitored to ensure County Road 248 stays in a state that is not hazardous to the traveling public. If material tracking becomes an issue, it may be advantageous to have a paved access to prevent issues. They noted the option of a future larger event structure. At that time, an additional review of the access should take place. Pending the amount of proposed traffic and the event frequency, a turn lane and pavement may be required for safe ingress and egress onto the county road. If they wish to have signing, this will take additional review and permitting if inside the highway right-of-way. If approved, conditions including yearly review should be included to ensure any access issues are reviewed and resolved. So that's the only comment I received, Mr. Chair. And then here are your criteria questions.
Okay, thank you, Amy. At this time, would the applicants have anything else to add? Or I'm sure we'll have some questions for you too, but if there's anything you'd want to add, go ahead.
Yeah, probably just in response to that comment, we were in contact with Tony about that, and just noted that we would adhere to whatever the recommendations were.
Can you speak in the microphone?
Oh, sure.
So everyone can hear you, please.
Just so that, yeah, we would adhere to whatever recommendations
Okay.
were recommended, and we did take some measurements and pictures, specifically of where that entrance comes in and all that for him as well, so.
Okay, good. Okay, anybody on the planning commission have some questions for our applicants? Go ahead, Mr. Brucher.
On the items of discussion for the dirt meeting, there was something about a max now would be 150 people. Is that a maximum that you set, 150 people?
Yes.
Okay.
We did based upon the size of the tent and how much the capacity would be for that.
Sure. What kind of events do you expect to be renting out for?
Mostly weddings.
I think there's a need for that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mr. Stish.
You knew I had a question just by that twisting of my head. Huh? Yeah, I was just referring to the county engineer's proposals here. If we adopted that as a condition, how would that be enforced? Would that be up to your office, his office, annual reviews? Would it be up to the applicant?
Mr. Chair, it depends on how you condition it. So if you condition that they be in contact with the Public Works Department on an annual basis, that responsibility would be on the applicant to make that contact. And then also, it would also be their responsibility to notify us that they've done that on an annual basis.
And if that didn't happen,
Then it would be a violation of their condition, and then we'd be reaching out to them to find out why and looking at them following through with that.
I guess how would you find that out? Do you have a pop-up on your calendar that says review
Well,
due, or?
Again, that comes to we would say by the end of the calendar year, or however you write that condition. If by December 31st of that year, we have not been notified that they have, then that would be our follow-up to verify whether or not that has happened.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I just have one comment on that, is that we have some approaches that we use real heavily. And, for trucks in the fall, and we just work with the county. There's usually county's got somebody that's driving back and forth fairly often that you can kind of work with. They aren't that hard to deal with, but we have some of the same things, so thank you.
Do you have anything else, Mr. Sish?
Oh, no,
Yeah.
that was all I had.
Mr. Chair,
Marv?
a couple questions for you. As Dave Brucher had questioned there, or read off, about 150 people max that you're planning on having there. Notice you have a parking area there, and, I don't know how many vehicles that will support. Do you have an idea how many vehicles your parking would support? Because sometimes in past, we've heard complaints when events, centers open up, there's not adequate parking to do this, so.
I think that whole area is over 3 acres, so it's large enough for enough parking. Yeah, 50 to 70.
Okay.
That's what we're thinking, yeah.
The next question is weddings and events like that. I'm assuming just weekends only or something, is what you're planning on that? And time of the day, I noticed that no later than 11 p.m.?
Correct.
Okay. Okay. And one other question, I don't know if you can answer this. Reading earlier, Shannon Westline was supposed to be coming up, they were doing wetland deal. Did anything materialize out of that?
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead, Amy.
Within the staff report, it was that they had been out there and the areas they're going to utilize for parking and for the event center, no wetland would be impacted. And then there was some discussion on enhancing that land bridge, and I'll zoom in on that. Enhancing this land bridge, whoops, excuse me. This land bridge here, enhancing that. I didn't hear.
It's actually not that.
Okay,
They were fine with that. It's actually a land bridge that they approved. We could put a culvert in to cross over into the venue area.
so it's not coming from parking, coming over here and up to the event area?
Yeah, there's already an existing land bridge right
Correct.
there. Yep, and that's all good to go.
Okay.
Yep.
And they approved the culvert also.
Yeah, and that was the enhancement, is
Yeah,
the culvert?
To the
Okay.
left of that road, that AG sign
Okay.
right there, it goes right through there.
Yeah, so,
it turns
so
to the
that
left.
was all seen on site by the Soil and Water Conservation District and all okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead, Mr. Sish.
the surrounding area, I know you've got a slide that maybe shows better than what's in our packet. Nearest residents, maybe the Jennings could how close is your nearest neighbor or nearest three neighbors?
Yes, can I just clarify something on that
Yep.
map? If you want to zoom back in, or whoever's doing that, I don't know.
Where would you like me to zoom in on?
Just kind of,
On your property?
yes, yeah. To the,
North?
keep going,
A little bigger.
yeah.
Oh, zoom out now?
No, zoom in. So
I
it's
think that's the extent that I can
Oh.
zoom in on that
like how it was
slide.
before.
That was a different slide. Do you want me to go to a
Oh,
different
gotcha.
slide?
Well, I just noticed that somebody had written event area in the wrong place, and I just wanted to clarify that that's not where the event area is going to be.
It's below.
So the event area is actually gonna be below. Yep, see where you have your hand?
Okay.
Yep, and then up a little bit, up in there. Yep, so that's the area.
And topographically, you can't really tell, but
Yeah.
that is a bowl. So it's,
Goes
and then there's a
down.
tree line, and there's also a tree line that goes around almost the whole property at some point. I mean, we planted about 1,000 trees this year. But that tree line right up where that event area sign is, goes downhill into a bowl, and then it comes back up. So it's actually very protected for sound and
buffer.
sight too, so.
Yeah, nowhere from like the road, any road or house can see the actual area.
So we have neighbors to the north, to answer your question. Yeah, that's better.
Better.
Actually, that's the future. And then below that is would be current for the tent.
Yeah.
So our nearest neighbors to the north are here,
Quarter mile.
yeah, quarter mile, and then everybody else is about around a half mile. There's one to the north and east, and one to the south and east, and then way through a forested area is another,
Half mile,
yeah, so probably three within
half mile.
half mile.
3 within a half mile and 1 in a quarter mile.
Yeah,
Okay.
correct.
Okay, thank you.
Brent, did you have anything?
Mr. Chair, my questions maybe are a little outside of, but I still want to ask them. I'm concerned about the parking area, the walking distance to the event area, and, should, in the unfortunate situation, something happen to somebody, a slip and fall, a medical, a heart, this, that, or the other thing, for emergency response personnel to get in and out of there, has there been any thought about the crossings, the distance? It is quite a ways to go in and out of there, and I'm curious, for public safety reasons, have you thought about that? Have you got any?
I mean, I'm an emergency room nurse, so I have medical background myself, and have worked in multiple venues in that area. As far as getting people in and out, it's going to be a very good road as far as getting into the parking lot area. That's wide and it's accessible for an ambulance easily.
I get that for the road and the parking area, but for where the event's actually going to be, you've got the cartway or
Everything's
the
wide
crossing
enough to get a paramedic, an ambulance in easily.
all the way to where the people would be?
Correct.
To where the tent would be?
Yeah,
Okay.
So a
Yeah.
vehicle could be driven over that.
correct. Yes, everything's structurally made to do that. In fact, I've had my pickup over it already multiple times. It's an existing land bridge and everything there is set up to be strong enough for all that. My skid steer, tractors. So an ambulance, I think probably is 12,000 maybe, 15,000 pounds, something in there. It's a 1-ton vehicle, I think, so I would think there wouldn't be a problem in that
And we
respect.
do have our main entrance
Yes,
to our
so,
property.
yeah, and there'll be
County Road 8.
access through that too.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, one of the things in our criteria kind of is any employees, if so, how many? just kind of your own thing?
I mean, I just would say, you know, starting out small,
Yep.
you know, so
Yep.
it would just be a few to be.
Okay,
Yeah, if we need seasonal.
okay.
If,
Less than seven, seven's our number, so.
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. So one thing too, before we move on, I just always ask this, if this would get granted, we always have an end date. Okay, you guys give a thought to an end date on what you'd want for an end date. Typically, we like to do it when you guys no longer own it.
yeah.
Is
That's what we were thinking.
that's what you were thinking?
Yeah,
Okay, so we can put that down when they no longer own the property. And then moving forward, I'll probably recommend that we have a condition on this, and that would go along with Public Works, that you just have an annual connection with them. And I'm sure once you get your first review done, it might be just calling up the county Public Works and they'll say any changes and you say no, and that's probably all it'll be until you have changes. So that'll probably be, that will be one of the conditions. So just so you guys understand that. You guys have any more questions right now, or I'll open up the public comment?
Mr. Chair, one quick question.
Go ahead, Mr. Stish.
You plan on building up a pad for the tent area, which would be before but the venue building up?
No, nothing for the tent at this point.
Okay,
It'd
it's
just
kind of
be,
relative
grass.
to Brent's question on access, you know, I'm just curious.
Yeah, eventually, I mean, if.
You've
we-
got enough slope and drainage and whatever?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, that will have to be,
yep.
yeah.
And Amy, in the staff report, or somewhere in here, I noticed that if a venue is built, a building is built, it would have to meet commercial
Correct.
guidelines? And who enforces that?
The Department of Labor and Industry.
Okay. Who
It's
ensures
nothing-
that they
we
do
don't-
that?
We don't enforce it. It would be, it's information we convey to them. It's their responsibility.
When they get their building permit? Okay.
Correct. It's their responsibility.
Which would be any code
To
that
make
would-
sure, and if there's any enforcement because they didn't build to code, that would be their responsibility to bear.
Okay. And the performance standards, you're obviously familiar with those and have reviewed those, and pretty much everything is covered between those two things, isn't it? Code and performance.
Well, code, we
Right.
haven't adopted code, we don't enforce it, but it is something we inform people of. It's a responsibility they have when they're building a building like that for public accommodation. They need to build that to commercial building code and would need to be working with Department of Labor and Industry to build to that code.
Okay. But everything else is pretty well covered by
Yes.
performance standards, health and.
Correct,
and
yes.
Whatever. Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Okay, at this time, I'll open up to public comment. If somebody from the public would like to speak on this application, I would ask that you'd go to the podium up there and speak into the mic so we could hear you. So if anybody would like to go up there and state your name for the record, please. No, the big podium, sorry.
Hi, my name is Norm Iverson. I'm also the mayor of Hillman, and I own the property directly across County Road 8 from where they're proposing this. I guess I have a few comments and questions. One being that I know for sure that there's at least 4 residents that are within closer than a half mile or a quarter mile. One being my neighbors here that sold them the property. Their house is gonna be directly across from this venue. They're a lot closer, and I'm across the road. There's several questions I have about it, I guess, because they said that there's a tree line all the way around it to protect it from the sound. I got cattle, I'm outside a lot, and I can hear their dog barking plain as day from walking around my yard. So that's one concern that I have is the noise. The other concern that I have is the alcohol. Who controls that? And is it gonna be like a BYOB thing, or is it gonna be where the caterer has to sell it to the people, so that's monitored?
Okay. We'll address all the questions when we're all done with public.
Okay,
So if you have more, you can ask them. We're writing them down and then we'll,
I'm good.
okay. Thank you. Is there any other public comment? Any other public comment? This is the last time I'll ask. Any more comment? Yeah, we got one more.
My name is Sandra Holman, and I live just north of the Jennings. Actually, that was our property formerly, so we know it pretty well. Maybe I didn't hear correctly or some of the stuff back where we're at on their answers, but I'm concerned, how are they going to get stuff back and forth across the creek? I heard them say that the people are going to park and walk, but outside of that, how are they intending to go across this creek crossing?
Thank you.
I'm Mel Bissler, and I live Kittywampus across from the property. Question I have, are you aware of the creek that runs through there that can become very big in the spring of the year? It overfloods our road, and it goes down in, and it actually, we're on Hillman Creek, and it starts in our property. The other part starts, is over on Norm Iverson's, and it all flows together, and it goes down there. And it goes across into this property, and I'm concerned about all the wetlands over there and what they're trying to build over there. I don't know if it can be controlled or what's going on. Just to give you aware that that creek overflows continuously in the spring. And I don't know if they're aware of it or not.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more public comment? You got one?
I'm Wallace Holman. Could we have a slide up there?
Which one?
Because we couldn't get the whole deal, the biggest one. And then I'd like to make a comment about it because
No, the one where it
if
zooms
they
in on
had to
it.
go through there, and I'm just looking at it, you know, they could get an ambulance through your yard and that if you had to have access that way, right? And go right straight back from it, I think. So let me walk up there a little bit.
I think he wants that big picture of their yard.
Are you which slide would you like, sir?
Where is the,
Where it said event center or event thing on it.
This one?
Yes.
okay, the event center is up there, okay.
That's wrong.
That's the wrong location.
Well,
But it's still,
Well,
Base
it's
there?
the name.
yes.
So it would be straight back, if you had something, do you have a pointer or something that I can? Oh, that one.
That one's accurate.
There's another one that's clear in this, isn't it?
No, I
Just
don't.
wait, whatever.
It's actually below that.
It goes straight back through their yard. To get there, there would be no, way that they couldn't get back there for an emergency.
Yep.
It'd be very easy, because we hauled hay and had cattle back there and everything. So if an emergency, you could go up there, you wouldn't have to go across this bridge. This is the one you're talking about, the bridge would be there. So, okay. I just didn't know if it was gonna be here or up there. The parking is gonna be here, so it should be fine, I would think.
Okay, thank you.
Where we live, we're building a new place, and we're probably, just borderline to a quarter of a mile from where their living quarters is.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your comment. Okay, I'll ask one more time and then we're gonna close it for public comment. Any more public comment? If not, we'll close this portion of the meeting to public comment. So we'll answer a few of these questions. I think I can answer two of them kinda in one. Sandra was concerned about the land bridge. And then there was also a question about the creek and the overflowing and all that. Soil and Water was out there, and they done a inspection and went through a process with them, and none of the wetlands are going to be disturbed by this project, is what they have stated. And then also that land bridge, they have the okay to
Put in a culvert.
put a culvert and make it a little more accessible. That's how I understand it. Okay, so Soil and Water has been out there. They have looked at the wetlands. They have looked at the whole thing. And where's that thing I was going to read? It says right here. There is wetland on the property. The Morrison County Soil and Water Conservation District was on site to verify no wetland impact would occur with the proposed parking and event area and to consult on enhancement of the land bridge. Okay? So hopefully that eases some of your guys' concerns. Amy, maybe do you want to tackle the one Norm had on the alcohol? And then the noise maybe?
So if food is being served, they need to use a caterer that is licensed to serve food, and the same would go for alcohol. So they would need to be engaging the services of someone who is licensed to serve alcohol at a venue. So the alcohol and food service would be by another party that would come on site and provide those services.
Okay, and then one, Norm was concerned about the noise. I don't know, maybe the applicants would want to speak to that a little bit.
11 o'clock is,
Can you speak in, because I think they're having a hard time.
11
hearing you.
o'clock is the proposed ending time. Obviously, we said no fireworks. We said, we've tried to keep it to a minimum as far as noise would be. The trees have been planted. They're intended to buffer a lot of that. I can't make them grow faster.
Yeah.
There is, wooded area between the homes in the summer, and that's when it would take place. So hopefully the forest would buffer some of that. I hear dogs too. I hear neighbors' dogs, and I hear cows and gunshots. People go out and fire their firearms and do all that too. So as do I. So it's not any different.
Okay. Anybody else on the planning commission have anything to say or question quick? Otherwise, we'll move on to our criteria questions.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Mr.
Just like to add
Stish.
quick that in the performance standards, under item C, identified use shall not create odor, dust, noise, electrical disturbances, glare, or vibrations noticeable at or beyond the property line, and the applicants stated that they were aware of that. So there is an enforceable standard.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead, Brent.
another follow-up for the applicants here. I'm scanning through some of this and looking at, the 11 o'clock shutdown. Obviously, that's a hard line. This is going to be an event that isn't going to be in the spring. It's going to be May through October. I'm just curious of the days of the week, or weekend onlys, or Saturdays only, Sundays only. What exactly is that? Maybe I missed that, but I'm trying to scan quick to find it, and I don't.
Yeah, weekend only, and it would just be one event per weekend.
So your weekend is that Friday, Saturday? It could be Friday or Saturday or
Yeah,
Sunday?
like, for instance, if it's a wedding, then if they need to come on the property, to start setting up on a Friday afternoon and then have the wedding on a Saturday, like at 2 or 3-ish or something like that, then they're.
But I mean, would it be available to have a wedding on Friday?
I mean, we could,
Okay.
I guess. I mean, if that's not allowed, or, we don't have to.
Just asking.
Yeah, my question was just, what are the days of operation? Hours of operation, hard shutdown at 11. Days of operation would be what?
A Friday, Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah,
And-
not a Sunday night though, probably.
No.
So it'd be
Yeah,
a Friday or Saturday night.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead, Amy.
so the event could be Friday or Saturday. If you have a Friday event, though, there may be some activity on like a Thursday for setup. Would that be fair?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Potentially. It wouldn't be the,
It wouldn't be noise, it wouldn't be
Right.
the event, it would be
Yeah.
people
and it
coming
would
in to
be,
set up.
yeah, and it would be it wouldn't be a huge
Yeah.
amount of
And
people.
I just wanted to also just mention that the event tent is a sizable length amount that, and it has sides to it, so everything is enclosed. It's
So for noise purposes,
in an enclosed structure.
it has walls, you understand?
Mr.
The-
Chair? So then a DJ would be enclosed within?
Everything's
Correct.
inside.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead, Mr. Brucher.
I don't think we should, I agree that they shouldn't have a Sunday night thing, but I don't think we should exclude a Sunday afternoon
No.
family reunion or something like
Right.
that, yeah.
Right.
I know, I kind of feel like we're trying to pin them down into something that's real exact, and I want to make that clear. Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead, Marv.
I have one more question. This is ag property, and I don't know if it's all going to be used towards the event center, or are you going to still, I'm hearing that these are hay fields. Are you going to continue to harvest them, let farmers come and harvest them as hay fields and just use a small portion for this?
Yeah, it's only 5%. I
That's less than
think we figured less than 5% is gonna
It's
be
okay.
used. We
Just
have
wanna
cattle
confirm.
and sheep right now
Okay,
currently.
perfect.
And it'll continue,
As ag? Okay,
Yeah.
thank you much.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on to our, Brent, your questions get answered?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So move on to our criteria questions. Okay, the use will not put excessive burden on roadways, utilities, and public facilities such as schools and parks. I'll take that one. With the condition of working through with the Morrison County Public Works on a yearly basis to make sure that the road is taken care of and whatever has to be done with that. I think with that kind of takes away the burden on the road. And then as far as utilities and public facilities such as parks and schools, yeah, I think there won't be no burden on any of them. So with the condition of working with the public works, that kind of helps alleviate that excessive burden on the roadways. Anybody else have anything to add to that? If not, we'll go to question 2, and it'll be Brent. The request will not be detrimental to the use and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity for the purposes already permitted, nor impede the normal and orderly development and improvement of surrounding vacant property for uses predominant in the area. Brent?
I don't think that it's going to impede any normal development improvement of the surrounding vacant area around the area. We have heard some concerns about noise, and I think the property owners need to be aware of that. The times of the events, the noise that might be generated by either a DJ or a small band that might play inside, 3-piece, 4-piece, I don't know if that's what you have, or is it only going to be DJ? But you need to keep in mind that that's something that is going to affect neighbors, and there'll be complaints generated, likely if it does exceed or cause disruption to them. So I think controlled, it could be, not detrimental to neighbors, but it also could be detrimental to them, and we could be back reviewing this in a year's time, so it's something to keep in mind.
Anybody else have anything to add to that?
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead, Mr. Stish.
I'd like to add that there are enforceable standards in place that would help regulate that. And if there are concerns, the public should be calling the appropriate places, There, too much noise, too much dust, too much activity on the road. Those things are enforceable. the permit could be in jeopardy if they're not held to. I'd say, vacant farmland, or vacant land, farmland, rural residence, ag, that's what the area is, and this fits well with it. Sioux Line Trail, a half mile away. Neighbors are aware of uses of land in the area. I think this fits well, and they've shown their willingness to work well with others, Soil and Water, Land Services, and the county engineer. So I'm thinking the neighbors are protected fairly well with this plan, and some of their concerns have been addressed here tonight.
Okay, we'll move on to question 3. It'll be for Dave Stish. The use, in the opinion of the Planning Commission, is reasonably related to the existing land use and the environment. Groundwater, surface water, and air quality in the surrounding area will not be adversely affected by the proposed use.
I should repeat what I just said. But yeah, it's Soil and Water Conservation District guidance, I assume this would be an ongoing relationship, not just a one-time thing. Performance standards and neighboring uses, again, fits well. No detriment to the environment, no impact on the wetlands.
Anybody have anything else to add to that? If not, I'll move on to question 4 from Marvin Treadle. The use is consistent with the purposes of the zoning ordinance and the purposes of the zoning districts in which the applicant intends to locate the proposed use.
Well, first I would reiterate that they had stated only 5% of the property was going to be used for the event center, and it would be continued to use as ag. And it sounded like they're real concerned planting trees, working with Soil and Water, and here having it set back far enough from the road. I believe everything they're doing is consistent here in how they're intending to use it, and they're going through the proper channels.
Okay. Anybody else like to comment on question 4? If not, we'll move to question 5. That'll be for Dave Brucher. The use is not in conflict with the comprehensive plan or the water plan of the county.
I don't have the exact regulations about the comprehensive plan in place, but I know that there are other sites like this in the county, and they've worked real well. We're neighbors to one right now, and it melds with our ag operation. I'd also say that with the water plan, having worked with Soil and Water, and I know that Shannon is not a pushover, so I think if you get Soil and Water's approval, I think you're going to be just fine. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else have comment for 5?
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Mr. Stish.
I guess I'd just like to share that it's, it's consistent with all the comprehensive plan goals and objectives listed in the staff report, on the end of the staff report. And I agree with Mr. Brucher's observations on, use of Soil and Water Conservation District in relation to environment. That's all I'd like to add.
Okay, you guys ready to vote? Okay, we'll be voting, and we have an end date of when they sell the property, and then a condition of annual review with the county public works. Any other conditions?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead, Mr. Brett.
Mr. Brent.
Yeah, I lost my train of thought here. I was moving too fast.
So with the condition regarding the Public Works Director, I think I read it in a 3-part. Before approval of the application, an access review would take place, which would be a condition likely. Secondly, mid-paragraph 1, there also should be a review ensuring that safe ingress and egress for event traffic. And then 3, would be contact with Public Works and notify and put the requirement on the property owners to notify Land Services. So I guess that would be a
Okay.
three-part.
You're right, but they already are working, they already got in contact with Public Works and are working right now on their initial one.
I just wanted to make sure that we
You just
covered.
want to put that in there, that's fine.
I think so.
Okay. I'd be fine if you got that in writing.
Yeah, so. Mr. Chair, I just want to clarify, so are you wanting, so between now and the time that this goes to the county board? So is that what you're getting at?
Right. This will go to the county board, but there should be an approval of their application.
In between?
Right.
So between now and the time it goes to the county board, Public Works needs to be out there to evaluate that?
Based upon what he's
Yes.
written here, yes.
Yep, okay, sounds good.
You guys can live with that?
Yeah. So you're saying to, the Public Works is for the egress into the.
Between now and November 8th, you would need to get the Public Works Department out there to tell you what, if any, improvements
Now in November.
to the driveway entrance would need to be made
Okay.
to
What's the
accommodate that
25th?
traffic.
That don't mean the improvements have to be done. It
Oh,
means
right.
that you get your recommendations and what you should be
If they're
doing.
able to, I guess if
Yeah.
they're, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Tony today indicated that I would just need to contact his office.
Yep.
He sent another follow-up
Yep.
email, so.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So we have our conditions. You guys ready to vote? Okay. Question one, the use will not put an excess burden on roadways, utilities, and public facilities such as parks and schools. Myself, Clint Catherine is yes. Brent Lindgren,
Yes.
Dave Stish,
Yes.
Marv Treadle,
Yes.
Dave Brucher.
Yes.
Question two, the request will not be detrimental to the use and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity for the purposes already permitted, nor impede the normal and orderly development and improvement of surrounding vacant property for uses predominant in the area. Brent Lindgren,
Yes.
Dave Stish,
Yes.
Marvin Treadle,
Yes.
Dave Brucher,
Yes.
myself, Clint Catherine is yes. Question three, the use and opinion of the planning commission is reasonably related to the existing land use and the environment. Groundwater, surface water, and air quality in the surrounding area will not be adversely affected by the proposed use. Dave Stish,
Yes.
Marvin Treadle,
Yes.
Dave Brucher,
Yes.
myself, Clint Catherine is yes. Brent Lindgren.
Yes.
Question four, the use is consistent with the purpose of the zoning ordinance and the purposes of the zoning district in which the applicant intends to locate the proposed use. Marvin Treadle,
Yes.
Dave Brucher,
Yes.
myself, Clint Catherine is yes. Brent Lindgren,
Yes.
Dave Stish.
Yes.
Question five, the use is not in conflict with the comprehensive plan or the water plan of the county. Dave Brucher,
Yes.
myself, Clint Catherine is yes. Brent Lindgren,
Yes.
Dave Stish,
Yes.
Marvin Treadle.
Yes.
Okay. All the questions have been answered in the affirmative. So is there somebody who'd make a motion, or,
Mr. Chair,
go ahead, Marv?
we make a motion to forward this to the county commissioners for approval with the conditions.
Okay, is there a second?
Second that?
Okay, motion made and seconded. All in favor say aye. I'll go down the row. Myself, Clint Catherine's aye. Brent?
Aye.
Dave Stish?
Aye.
Marvin Treadle?
Aye.
Dave Brucher?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Okay, so that we're gonna recommend to the commissioners that they approve this, with the conditions that were set forward. The county board meeting is November 8th, so if you guys would get that, taken care of with the county public works and get that kinda all taken care of before the 8th, that'd be great. Any questions, contact Land Services and they'll help you.
Mr. Chair, could I just?
Yeah,
one
go
quick
ahead.
Comment? We talked a lot about the days of the week that you'd be open. There are no restrictions in this,
Not the way it's
in
been,
our
not
recommendation.
the way it's been conditioned by you.
So you're available 7 days a week.
Thank you.
Restrict you to.
Good luck with it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Okay, so now we have, 1 second. Okay, any new business? I don't believe so. Anybody have any old business?
I don't have any, Mr.
Oh,
Chair.
I forgot, we gotta approve our minutes from August 30th. You guys get a chance to look over the minutes?
I move that we accept the minutes as presented.
Okay, I'll second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, minutes, been approved. If there is no new or old business, take a, someone wanna make a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
I second that motion.
Okay, motion's made and seconded to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Meeting adjourned at